Yes. All right. We should be live now.
We live and direct.
All right. As you can see, got a special guest on here in one of my interview style videos. But as always, it's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, killing the coon within me, coon within you. Got special guests on here, somebody that I respect a lot. I don't use the word queen too much to refer to people because personally, I just think it gets kind of overused in the term. But that being said, you definitely are somebody I do consider to be a queen, somebody I do respect a lot.
Thank you.
Bree, you can go ahead and introduce yourself if you want.
My name is Danica Marie. I am a relationship coach. I am a entrepreneur. I am a wife. I am a Black love promoter. um, you name it. I'm a poet. Um, what else am I? I'm an author, a writer. Uh, I'm a life coach, all of that good stuff. You name it, that's what I am. I have my own show over on YouTube called Danica Marie Dope Discussions. We go live each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Central. And we talk about relationship-oriented topics. You can also find me over on flynubianqueen.com as well. But yeah, that's pretty much a brief introduction. I mean, I'm the girl next door, okay? That's just me.
So go ahead and shout out your books if you want, you know.
Oh, I have some books that I have written. I have one called, my recent one is called You Are Worthy, Conquering Your Insecurities from Within. And the book basically breaks down how pretty much everybody is dealing with insecurities on some level. And it just breaks down, how they begin, how you can conquer them, what you may become from being insecure, what kind of people you may attract from being insecure. And it just gives you some practical things that you can implement into your everyday life to overcome those insecurities. I have a few more books. I have one that I wrote last year called Why Do We Cheat? How to Survive the Relationship or Move On. And that book is basically breaking down relationships and how infidelity occurs, how that begins, what we go through with our relationships, if we want to actually survive that relationship or actually, move on from it. Your girl, I ain't perfect now. I was out here doing some things. And so I wanted to write a book about it to just give people more insight and clarity on how to, really repair and fix their relationships, because that's what I do. I'm a relationship coach. And so I just try my best to help people to repair or fix their relationship that they're already in, and ultimately help them with the relationship that they already have within themselves. That's the most important to me.
Hey, absolutely, and I appreciate it too. I'm a single man out here, but it's still good to learn and kind of hear these things, especially from a woman's perspective.
Yeah.
You are very balanced, which is something that I do appreciate about you. Which I'm sure some of your balance probably comes from your husband and kind of getting a male perspective as well as your own and just your own experiences and the research that you do and everything like that. It's good to see people in our generation out here just trying to do something positive, whether it's helping out the children or just helping out people our age, and just being knowledgeable about what's going on with our people, whether it be relationships or politics, whatever it is, things like that. So definitely shout out to you, and I'll try to put the links to your books in the description here later.
And I think another thing to add on to what you're saying, as far as why I have such a balanced perspective, is because I grew up with my father and I had an older brother. And so I was around them a lot of the time. So I was able to get both sides of the spectrum and not just be one-sided and see things only from a female's perspective. I like to see everything from all different angles. With me being a young woman growing up in a household where, I have male figures around me that were, very prominent and influential, they gave me more, clarity on, things that they may face. And so that helped me to be more balanced as well.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, black fathers matter.
They really do.
No slight at black mothers. Black families matter, but
absolutely.
as you heard her just say, her having a black father, having brothers and everything like that, helped her to kind of get perspective and to not be biased or get any kind of I guess skewed perspective. I think that is really good and really healthy to have a male presence as well as a female presence in the household. That's no slight towards the Black LGBT community, but just as far as children growing up, it is good because when you're out in the real world, you're gonna meet men and women. You know what I mean? You're gonna be around, everything like that. So I think it is good to get, some type of perspective and everything like that. Not that, women should necessarily, sacrifice their femininity and just, think like men or vice versa or anything like that. But I think that we should at least understand one another to some level to where we can respect one another.
Absolutely.
Respect people if you don't have any type of experience or understanding, or you at least don't care to try to get some type of knowledge and things like that. So I think having that type of household is important, especially for us, because we know how this country and other countries like to do when it comes to Black families, everything like that. So I think
completely annihilate them.
yeah. But we can go ahead and get into these questions unless there's anything else you kind of wanted to
no, you can go ahead and get right into it. This is your show, King. Happy birthday also. It's the King's birthday today. It's his last day in his 20s, so we're gonna turn up for the King, okay?
29 birthdays. That's the big 3-0 next year, but we ain't gonna worry about that right now. We focus on this 29th birthday, you know what I mean? So I think this is a really good birthday present from me as well, because this is something that I've been wanting to talk about. So I can discuss this with you and everything like that, because definitely, once again, somebody that I do respect. I'm not gonna have anybody on my channel that I don't respect or anything like that. So
I appreciate that.
Channel out for anybody, 81 people that subscribe to me, anybody who's watching the live stream or watching this on the playback. If you haven't heard of her for whatever reason, definitely check her YouTube channel out. Link is in the description. But basically, you had did a video, I think it was like last week or something like that, giving your opinions on interracial relationships. And I thought some of the things that you were saying was very, very interesting, and it just kind of got me thinking about different questions and just kind of thinking about my own past with my relationships and my experiences and just my perspective as a Black man, and then you giving your perspective as a Black woman and thing like that. So I came up with 6 questions, and we're just kind of get into it. I think of some more questions, or you think of something, we can kind of just on the fly. But number one, as far as Black people in interracial relationships, you as a Black woman, what is your opinion on Black men as well as Black women that are in interracial relationships in 2019?
My opinion about it is, first and foremost, let me say it is none of my business who anybody wants to be with. If you want to be with other people, that's totally your prerogative. And I respect it as long as they are respectful to you, you respect them, you love them, they love you, all of that, okay? But I would have to be honest and say that I would have my issue is the whys. That's what I said in my previous videos. A lot of the people that I come into contact with when they are in interracial relationships, they are in those relationships as a means to kind of, I don't know, escape their own realities, because a lot of them, I feel, are not happy with who they are or where they come from. And so when they get into these other relationships outside of their own, races and backgrounds and things like that, I feel like it helps them to feel some type of status symbol, or get some kind of status symbol to say, you know what, I'm too good to be with somebody that's, my own race. And that can go for any kind of race, whether you are Black, whether you are white, whether you are Indian, Puerto Rican, whatever. If you have a problem with dating people within your race, and the why as to why you're not doing that is because, well, I don't like my people. Like, for instance, when it comes to Black men, because that's what really sparked this conversation for me to even touch on it. It was a king that inboxed me and was like, hey, Queen, why come so many Black women have an issue with me saying that, you know, I date white women, you know, I only date white women or something to that effect. And I had to, you know, really reflect and ask myself. And really it boiled down to the fact that a lot of Black men kind of bash Black women and put these other races of women on the pedestal. So it kind of plays on the Black woman's emotions and her mentality to make her feel like that she is inferior. And so now I have all of these insecurities that are, you know, already developing within me based upon the treatment of the Black man and the Black women in America anyway. So not only that, now I have to be constantly, you know, told that, you know, I'm not good enough to marry. I'm not good enough to conceive your children. I'm not good enough to be with in general. So it's kind of like a slap in the face, like, damn, not only are we being rejected by, you know, society in general, but we're being rejected by our own men on top of that. So I personally would highly promote, and this is just me, my personal feelings, I highly promote Black love all day, every day. I mean, that's just me. I grew up around Black people. I love myself. I'm a Black woman. So why wouldn't I want to be with a Black man that is a reflection of me? So that's my personal opinion. Again, you can date and be with whomever you want to be with as long as your reasoning behind being with them is legitimate. But of course, all day, every day, I'm going to always, you know, practice Black love. Okay? That's just me personally.
Sorry to get my headphones.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I knew it was something. All right. Shouldn't be no echoes. But no, yeah, no, absolutely. That was one of the main things that kind of stuck out to me when you were giving your opinion and everything like that. Yeah, that's something that I have noticed. Just kind of, I guess, kind of piggybacking off of what you said. Oh, thank you, Fat Boy Chronicles, for the subscription or for subscribing.
Peace.
Good, what's good? Just comment on there. Yeah, what's good, man? Yeah, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Subscribe to her as well if you're not already. But yeah, that's something that I've noticed just personally when it comes to Black people. This is Black men and Black women. It seems like not everybody, but just in particular, you have Black people who will date outside of their race or marry outside of their race due to pain. You know, not necessarily them just meeting someone, and that does happen. I got, you know, family members and things like that are married to you know, white folks, and I know they don't have any type of, you know, ill will towards Black people or any type of self-hate. You know, it's just more of a proximity thing, which is something that, you know, I might touch on later. But I'm just speaking in general globally, because most Black people grow up around mostly Black people. You know, I've noticed a lot of times with Black people, it's a response to pain. Like you were saying, you know, you'll ask a Black man or a Black woman for that matter, oh, you know, why? Just, you know, out of curiosity. And usually they can't name anything good about their significant other. Usually it's, you know, all Black women ain't shit, or, you know, all Black men ain't shit. And it's like, dang, wait a minute, I didn't ask you about Black people. I'm asking you about your woman, or I'm asking you about your man. Why are you talking bad about, oh, well, if you men would have, you know, did this, or if you women would have been like that, then you know, it's just like, oh, okay, so are you running away from something, or do you think that the grass is greener over here? Do you feel like there's some type of, you know, I guess, you know, emotional safety or something if you date over here than over there, like this, you know, where you just hurt over and over again by certain people, so now your psyche is attaching the image of Black people to pain, so you think, oh, if I go over here, I won't get hurt, even though there's, you know, people in any demographic that can hurt people.
Exactly.
Whether that's individually, systematically, you know, whatever. So I always found that interesting. Like, oh well, you know, black women are very combative and da da da. And I'm over here thinking, do you know that white women historically have lied about black men, you know, raping them and all this other type of stuff just to get us killed, just to get us put in jail? But you want to talk about black women being combative, I can speak, and things like that. Not saying that there aren't some black women that are, but why does that have to be the face of black women? Why does that have to be something negative?
Right.
You know, for every negative thing you can say about black women, you can bring up 10 positive things.
Right.
So I don't, you know.
And let's also hit on the fact that you don't even have to like literally ask somebody like why. Like I said, I don't give a that's who you want to date. But a lot of the times it's like just volunteered information. You know what I mean? It's like you're not asking something. Like me, I'm not walking up to a black man and saying, why are you with this white woman? I'm not doing that. They're volunteering this information. They're like, well, black women just angry. Black women got attitudes. Black women are ghetto and black women are this. And this is why I can't date black women. It's not like anybody is, you know, saying anything to these people about, you know, their preference. It's them. To me, it's showing them that they are feeling some type of way on their own for you to even have to go out of your way to vocalize that. You know what I mean? Because if it really was genuinely about you just being with this person and you wanted to be with this person, you wouldn't care to explain yourself. You wouldn't care to go out of your way to actually vocalize the whys without anybody even have to, you know, to ask you about it. You wouldn't feel the need to defend yourself, is what I'm trying to say. So a lot of people are just, you know, and black women too, you know, I like to be balanced. It's black women out here who are dating outside of their race. And it's like, well, I'm with this white man because black men, y'all just ain't shit. Y'all don't know how to handle y'all responsibilities. All y'all know how to do is, you know, sell drugs and get locked up, and y'all just be cheating and doing this, that, and the third. It's just like our reasoning behind it, like you said, comes from pain. It comes from insecurities. It comes from us feeling like we're not good enough, or as a way to get back or retaliate, rather, you know, at the other, you know, gender. Like, you know what, black men, y'all ain't shit, so I'm gonna give me a white man. Black women, y'all ain't shit, so I'm gonna go ahead and get me a white woman. And it's just like, man, do what you do, but don't go out here putting somebody else down as a means to justify your choice of dating outside of your race. If that's what you genuinely want to do, just do that. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to bash or tear somebody else down in the process. Just live your life.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I just, to me, I think it's just weird, you know, when far specifically when people say this, it's almost like they're implying that other races of people don't have issues, or that other races of people are just automatically dateable across the board, and that we're not, as if, you know, there isn't marital issues in other races, everything like this. You know what I mean? Not saying that black people that we don't have problems, like we definitely do. But
yeah.
It's like, you know, white people or
and have
Middle
you
East,
even
you know.
have you dated everybody that was black? Have you dated?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you can travel is all, you know.
Generalize way too much.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, some of it is social conditioning and programming.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, seeing certain images of us, and then you go out into the wild, so to speak, and then you meet somebody that is all those stereotypes, or one of your friends does, and they're telling you about it, or you're on social media just constantly hearing, you know, black men versus black women and all this type of stuff. It's just kind of like, I think that kind of makes some people afraid, like, well, dang, why should I even give this black man a chance, or give this black woman a chance, when all I'm hearing is nothing but bad stuff, or I've, you know, gone through some bad stuff myself. But oh dang, but over here in, you know, in white land, thank you for the subscription, Tara Raven Coleman, thank you very much for subscribing. Subscribe to Danica as well if you haven't already. I'm sure some of y'all that are probably joining are joining from Danica's channel, but if not, definitely. But you know, I'll you know, see this type of stuff, and you know, it's like people just assume that, oh well, over here in so-called Middle Easterns, or you know, East Asians, or whatever race you want to say, even though black people are everywhere, but you know, people that we don't consider to be black, you know, it's like people just assume that there's no type of marital issues within those races, so then they'll just run to them and then they'll give them excuses. Like I've heard this from black women as well as black men. Well, I'll hear them complaining about, you know, their white boyfriend or the white girlfriend or whatever. And I'm thinking like, dang, okay, so, you know, well, how come you're always talking bad about black folks, but here you are dealing with the same issues,
Same issue.
you know, but oh well, no, you got to understand that it's like, well, wait, okay, so you can be understandable, yeah, when it comes to, you know, Tyler or, you know, Tammy, but when it comes to Tyrone or Tanisha, all of a sudden, you know, well, it's just one strike you out. You ain't even a three strike. It ain't like the Bill Clinton. It's just we get one strike. We worse than Bill Clinton sometimes. It's like, dang, so you know, we'll give them 15 different tries. And then, you know, you have some folks that might want to come back, you know, after they done dealt with a lot of issues. Well, I'll call myself out, you know, because I haven't talked about this too much on my channel yet. I want to kind of get into it, but I have dated outside of my race. And I swore that I will never, like I will never do that again. And I've dated outside my race with women that were cool and stuff too. So it's not so much that I'm just running back to, you know, black women or anything like that. But, you know, I have noticed that with black people as well, where they'll go through a bunch of issues with other races of people, and then they'll get a Negro wake up call like, dang, it ain't so great over here. Let me go back. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You would talk all this crazy stuff about black people, and now that you done been done dirty by Tyler and or Tammy or whatever, now it's like you want to come back over here, you know, it's just like, okay, you know. But as somebody who has you know, been with women outside of my race due to proximity, it was never out of hate or anything like that. Just like black on black crime is a proximity issue. It's not just black people shooting one another because we're black. I never heard of a black person killing, you know, a black person. They're like, well, he was black.
Right.
She was black. So you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to make excuses or anything like that, but, you know, black women have always been my number one. And it's just, you know, being a heterosexual male, it was pretty much either, you know, downgrade or it was kind of a nobody thing. But as I got older and traveled and kind of networked with different people, and, you know, once you kind of get to that college age and outside that college age, you know, you start to meet different people and things like that. And
see, that's what it's all about to me, is the why. That's what matters the most to me, is the whys. And I have people attack me and asking me like, well, why do you even care about who somebody else is dating? And it's just like, you know what?
It's deeper than just, you know, that individual couple though.
Yeah, it's deeper than that. It's like we are already suffering on all kind of mental levels. So of course you're going to feel some type of way when you're seeing people around you that come from the same place that you come from, and they are, you know, neglecting you to be with somebody else. And again, a reason as to why I am pro black family, okay? And again, date who the hell you want to date if it's for the right reasons. And again, if you're black and you're dating black people for all the wrong reasons, that's still just as bad too. Okay, let's put that out there as well. If you just saying, well, they black, but you know they treat me like shit, but at least they black, then I feel like that's a problem as well. It's really boiled down to wise across the board. But I would say that you can relate more to people that, you know, come from where you come from. Like, for instance, the reason why I have never dated outside of my race is because I don't feel like I can relate to anybody that's outside of my race. You wouldn't be able to relate to me. And it's going to come a time where we're going to have some kind of barrier that is coming between us to where we're not going to be able to fully understand one another. It's just a matter of time. It's going to be certain things that you view a certain way and certain things that I view a certain way. And we're going to eventually clash. So I would rather, you know, experience my life with somebody who has been through some of the same experiences that I've, you know, encountered. Now, granted, is it going to be times where some things you can't relate to? Of course, but you'll be better equipped to understand at least where I'm coming from versus somebody else that has no idea what the hell I'm talking about. And what do you mean police harass you just because you're black? You just wouldn't be able to understand that. So that's my whole reason why I am, you know, pro-Black family, and I've never dated outside of my race, because I can't relate to them, and I don't feel like you would be able to relate to me. And then, like I said in my previous video, I think long term, what happens when we have babies? You know, if we have babies and our babies have to grow up in a world where they don't feel entirely inclusive, like that's going to have an effect on them, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. I see it all the time with, you know, maybe it was friends growing up in school, or maybe family members, and it was always an issue where they didn't feel Black enough or they didn't feel white enough. So no matter what, you guys, they were just like stuck in limbo. And I don't feel like that's fair, because you have made a conscious decision to place your child directly in a situation where they're going to feel, you know, rejected a lot of the times. And as a Black woman or as a Black man, we already have to go through that on our own, being Black people. So now you have another side of that, to where you're in the middle of two worlds. Like, damn, I'm not white enough for these people, and I'm, you know, I come from these people, and I'm not Black enough for these people, and I come from these people. So I just think about all of that. And to me, I feel like when it comes to interracial dating, nobody is thinking about that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, there's just look what you were saying about just that level of understanding. You know, I think as Black people, we kind of have nonverbal communication. I think all groups of people, we all kind of, you know, like different races of people all kind of have this. You know, like just for example, you know, you coming home from work, and you know some coworker or somebody like that was, you know, getting at you and being racist or whatever it is. You come home, you got that look on your face. She already knows. She's looked at you like, oh, what happened? What they say. You ain't even really gotta, you know, you're already just in sync. You know what I'm saying? Instead of you coming home, you feel some kind of way, and then you start, you know, talking to, you know, your girl or whatever. I'm just talking from my perspective, just as an example. I've never had this happen, but you know, you trying to tell her, well, oh man, you know, whoop de whoop at work, you know, they said this, or they was talking about, you know, going back to Africa, well, you know, whatever. Now you got, whoa, what's the problem? It's like shit. Like now you got to explain to her what the problem is,
or him,
right? And you know, for Black women, you know, and you got to explain to them. So now you already upset because of what happened at work, or you know, whatever the case may be. Now you battling with the significant other. They're taking the white person's side because they're still on code. You know what I'm saying? So now you're even more pissed. And it's like, dang, like, you know, it's like you can't, there's no synergy. Whereas, you know, and this, I mean, of course you got, you know, some Black people who maybe are just kind of lost in the sauce. But in general, I think we kind of just in sync to where we understand, because we go through a lot of the same things, just globally. I'm more on a global mindset when it comes to Black folks and things like that. But I do understand that nationality-wise, sometimes we do have specific issues, but it all stems back to our race. You know, so we just kind of understand what's going on, and we don't have to break down and try to, you know, convince our significant other why we feel this way. All we gotta do is say, hey, look, this happened, and she already knows, or you know, he already knows. It's just like, okay, like dang, you know, and you can just have that conversation, whatever it is that y'all do, you know, in your household or whatever the case may be. But you know, it's like I ain't got time to try to convince you why I feel this way. Right. You should just, you know what I'm saying? You should already be on my side and things like that. So, you know, you kind of answered some of my other questions already about, you know, having, you know, kids if you're in an interracial relationship and things like that. But I want to read.
You definitely have to have that kind of conversation, like, and we're not doing that. And I see so many biracial children grow up to be an adult to where they feel some type of way, like, you know, I grew up tough, just as rough as, you know, Black people have grown up, and because I was rejected from both sides. I never was good enough, and so we have to really be cognizant of that when we are entering into these interracial relationships and marriages and things like that. But again, I like to see all sides, and then people who have interracial relationships, they can argue us up and down, conscious coon killer, and say, well, why would you want to be with a Black woman and you a Black man, and y'all know how hard it is to be a Black person, you bringing Black babies into this world. So what would you say to that?
What would I say to bringing more black children into a racist society?
Right. Because they can argue that with us. Like, okay, you talking about interracial and bringing babies into this kind of world where they, are not accepted by this and accepted by that, but y'all bringing a bunch of black babies into this world where you already know it's going to be hard for them. So what would you say to that argument?
What would I say to that? Well, first and foremost, how do you fight white supremacy as black people if we don't have black people existing, living, and we're not, raising, protecting, and nurturing them to be militant, to be, in that kind of mindset and be knowledgeable and everything like this? How can we combat white supremacy if we're not reproducing and replacing ourselves? That's the first thing, I would say. Secondly, in my opinion, I know there's a whole thing with people that are half black and all this type of stuff. I look at so-called biracial people as black people, even though I do understand genetically that, technically they're not black, but socially they are. If this was the 1800s, they will be slaves too. Now they might be in the house, living in the basement, living in the attic or something, but they will not be considered human beings. They would not, they would not be able to vote. They would not, not that voting really matters, but I'm just saying they would not have any of the so-called rights that, white people had in this country back in the day that black people did not have. You know what I mean? It wouldn't matter. Thomas Jefferson had a whole bunch of illegitimate so-called biracial children that he did not claim. If you look at those old photos, things like that. So I don't think it's so much of, oh, well, we live in a racist society, so why would I bring a child to this world and have them suffer like me? Let me make a biracial kid, because that biracial kid is going to suffer as a black person anyway. But in my opinion, in certain ways, it's worse for them psychologically, I would assume, because like you said, now they're confused. They're being called, a nigga to their white, dad or white mom in the household, but they're being called a cracker to, black folks that have an issue with biracial people and things like this. Or, there's a whole colorism thing and, all this other type of stuff that goes on. So now they're confused, at least as a black child that has, that's from two black people, who you are. There's no confusion.
Right.
So it's easier, I think, to be able to raise a child to be militant and to understand what's going on in this world when both parents are black, instead of you being, directly descendant of the oppressed and the oppressor. If you're talking, black, obviously there's different. You got Tiger Woods, whose mom is Korean and things like this. But so I don't think that would really help anything, so to speak, by having a so-called biracial baby versus a so-called full black child, even though as Black Americans, a lot of us do have European DNA, because like I said,
we're all mixed up, but for the most part, we're black, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit up here and say I'm mixed. That's ridiculous. But
right.
I'm just saying, you had
I get what you're saying, but people had that argument like we're all mixed up. So
yeah, which logically speaking, I mean that is true, but how would I look looking the way I do, saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm about 1/10 European"? Like, Negro, shut your goofy. You know what I'm saying?
Like this too, in regards to the biracial children, as far as them, feeling like they would have to choose a side. I feel like that's tough.
Yeah,
because you don't want to neglect your mom and she's white and just claim to be black. And you don't want to reject your dad because he's black and just can't claim to be white. So me personally, I'm just like you, King. When I see biracial children, like, to me, y'all are black. I mean, that y'all black. But to them, I see a lot of biracial children who say, I'm not black, I'm mixed. Because they don't want to feel like they are neglecting that other side of them. And so I feel like that in and of itself is a conflict. Because you have certain people telling you need to choose a side. You're not mixed, you black. And it's like, well, no, you're not black, you mixed. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, that's confusing for them. And I feel like a lot of people that are in interracial marriages and relationships, once again, when y'all are bringing these children into this world, y'all are not really sitting down and thinking about the impact that this world will have on them. It can be very tough. I feel for the mixed children. or the mixed people of this world, or biracial, whatever you want to say. Again, I'm gonna call y'all black. I know y'all, some people may not say that you are. I see you guys as black. And like the king said, the world will see you as black as well. But how do you argue them that and tell them like, no, you're not mixed, you're black, when they don't want to neglect that side? Or how do you tell a mixed kid on the contrary that says that I am black, but then you have black people rejecting them and saying, no, you're not, you're mixed? That's just so, I feel for them on all levels, and it's of no fault of their own. And so that's why I feel like we need to really, when we do get in these relationships, we do have to sit down and think about all of the different, effects that could be a result of us choosing this type of relationship to be in. Yes, we may be built for it. Yes, we may be strong enough to handle it, but what about our babies? And we're not having that conversation.
Hey, no, exactly. And to be clear, I understand that colorism tends to favor, so-called biracial people. I'm not saying that, that they don't have certain so-called privileges over, other black people, things like that. I'm just saying from a psychological standpoint, I could imagine that would be confusing. I mean, even just me being a black person that grew up in Iowa, grew up, obviously around, white people as well as black people, things like that. Even just somebody like me who clearly, like, you look, I mean, there's no way, like, nothing other than black, obviously. There's no racial ambiguity or nothing that goes on with me here, like, but just being a black person that grew up around white people, I've had black people growing up try to tell me that I'm white because of the way that I speak, or, having, white friends as well as black friends, things like that. I've gone through that culturally, I guess you could say. Yeah. So I can imagine racially, because you can't, it's one thing if I'm just sitting here, you looking at me, you ain't gonna know where I'm from. You're like, oh, okay, that's a black person. That's it. You ain't gonna think, wait a minute, where? So, you're gonna be, okay, that's just a black guy. Like, you look like a black, but you look like Drake or somebody, just as an example. You can kind of tell, oh, this person, there's something else going on. You know what I mean? Now, on the flip side, somebody like J. Cole, in my opinion, looks like a light-skinned black dude. Like, I didn't even know that dude had a white mama until a couple years ago. Which goes back to me and you saying that, they black people too. Right. But I can imagine how annoying and confusing that could be. Just me, I guess, getting a taste of that culturally growing up as a child. You know how, little kids always want to, pick at one another and things like that. Now, I've gotten that as somebody who clearly looks black.
I've gotten that too. I've gotten that too.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of like, dang, so I could imagine actually being, if I actually was half white, it's like you can't escape that. You know what I'm saying? Whether you look it or they see both your parents, and it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, he or she ain't one of us. You know what I'm saying? Like that would definitely be confusing. I can imagine as a child, and I would not want my child to go through that. You know what I mean? So I don't. But at the end of the day, I don't think it matters so much as far as your question saying that, oh, why would you want to bring a black child? Why not bring a so-called mixed child, at the end of the day, how are you going to counter white supremacy then? You know what I mean? Like that, if we're not here, you know what I'm saying? So somebody has to be replacing ourselves at the end of the day. But I want to read these comments so real quick. A couple people are saying some interesting stuff. Fat Boy Chronicles said, a lot of black men, which ain't a lot of us, but a lot of black men date white women, from what I'm told, because sisters have way too many standards. What's your opinion on
that? Way too many standards. I personally don't feel like there's a problem with having standards. I feel like the problem is having standards that are unrealistic. I disagree with that comment, because again, I feel like that is generalizing, and I don't like to do that. But I can't understand it to a certain degree, because I do feel like it's certain black women out here who do have standards that are way too far-fetched, and maybe it's certain standards that maybe they couldn't even reach themselves. So I think that's the issue that could go on in that areas, because we may have standards that may be way too damn ridiculous and way too damn high, and we're not even able to meet those standards for ourselves, or be able to reciprocate that same standard, or what have you, for that man that we are demanding that from. But I would go ahead and say that a lot of women of different races, of different backgrounds, they all have standards. Now, I would be more specific in that comment and say maybe we have, unrealistic standards, or standards that, can't be met. But to just say that because we have too many standards, I feel like everybody should have standards. Black men, black women, white men, white women, everybody should have standards, because when you have standards, that is signifying that you think highly of yourself. You know that you deserve better, that you know that you deserve more, because you know what you're able to bring to the table. So you would like for somebody else to be able to reciprocate that same energy back to you. But to generalize all black women and say that you would rather, or you would prefer another woman outside of your race because they don't have standards at all, that says a lot about you as a man than that woman. Because a real man, a king, especially the strong black kings, they don't mind a woman having standards, because he has standards for himself. So he doesn't mind another woman coming in and having certain things that she would like from him, because he knows that in return he's going to be demanding certain things. So if you're with a woman strictly because she doesn't have standards, then maybe you should take a look in the mirror and see, okay, well, why is she with me? Why would somebody that doesn't have standards want to be with somebody like me? Am I not worthy? And you have to start asking all of those kind of questions. So I personally would want a man that has standards as a black woman, and I feel like as a black man, you should want a woman that has standards. Now, are those standards too damn high or far-fetched and unrealistic? That's another conversation. But as far as having standards in general, everybody should have standards.
Hey, absolutely. I think that's kind of the thing is, as far as there's a difference between having unrealistic standards and having standards. And I think sometimes, men and women are afraid that they can't reach realistic standards. I'm not talking necessarily about the unrealistic types of standards, but I think some people don't want to admit that, oh, maybe I can't reach certain realistic standards. So instead of admitting that to myself and trying to work on it or work with them and admit whatever my, insecurities are or whatever it is, I'm gonna just roll over here, because not only am I gonna stereotype, I'm just speaking, outside myself, not only am I stereotyping black women, but technically I'm just stereotyping white women as well, because essentially you're saying, well, okay, well, black women have all these standards, but white women don't. Like you said, everybody has standards, or at least we should, because if you don't, then in my opinion, people can easily disrespect you and walk all over you. If you just accept any old thing, then you know what I'm saying? Like, we all should have some type of requirements, is what I call it, but same thing to some extent. Now, if your requirement is, she got to look like, Beyonce, and she got to be out here, doing backflips and somersaults every night in the bedroom, or he's got to be, rolling the money like Warren Buffett or somebody like this, and he's got to be built like Dwayne Johnson or somebody, then it's kind of like, okay. Ain't everybody. That's possible, but
you have that same thing that you can, require back. They can require back from you. If you're somebody that has a lot of money and you want another person that has a lot of money, then yes, I can understand that. But if you were on the futon in your mama basement talking about you need a man that got 6 figures, come on now. Or if you out of shape and you fat, sloppy, don't want to work out, but you want a woman that look like a Beyonce, then come on, bruh. Yeah. Just as long as you're able to meet your own requirements, that's all I ask for. As long as you're able to reciprocate, that's all that I have to say.
Yeah, to me, relationships is a lot like a business or economics or a job. For example, when it comes to your finances, they always tell you you're supposed to spend within your means. And this is no diss to anybody. I'm just speaking about myself and just people just across the world. You should date and or marry within you're mean, so to speak. And that's not me saying, something's wrong with anybody, but like you said, if you're somebody who's rolling in the dough and you're saying, hey, they got to be on that similar level or close to my tax bracket, cool. But if, like you said, you're in your mama's basement on the futon, you can barely rub two pennies together, and you're talking about, oh, well, they got to have $1 billion. You don't sound crazy, if you're out of shape and you expect them to be on point physically, it's like, come on, like that, like you sound crazy, you know what I mean? But as far as what Fat Boy Chronicles says, ironic, talking about the sister, talking about the sisters having way too many standards. It sounds like that's implying that other women don't have too many. Now I don't know what the number is for too many, but my thing is, if you are an intelligent Black person, you are aware of what's going on in this society and other societies when it comes to Black people. So a Black women, if across the board, if their number one man, the number one person that they want to be with statistically are Black men, and Black women aren't stupid, they see what's going on with Black men and Black women, and y'all still want to be with us, how could it be that Black women can also have too many standards? Because if that was the case, then there will be a lot less Black women, saying yes to a Black man who's trying to propose or just trying to ask that woman, the man's trying to ask that woman to be his girl or whatever it is, because she would know, well, dang, I know statistically it's hard for Black men to get a job or start a business. I know there's all this stuff going on systematically, not that, there's anything wrong with us, just genetically, anything like that, but we know what's going on systematically. We know that, one of the first targets, I guess you could say, with constant white supremacy is the Black man. You destroy the Black man, it's like a domino effect, that the Black woman's next and the Black children in the Black community, right? Black women know this. So how could they have too many standards across the board, all Black women? How could that be the case if you look statistically, the main people that Black women are with are Black men?
Right.
And that's not to say that Black women have low standards, low self-esteem either. I think it just shows that Black women understand, from a practical and I guess you would say a business standpoint about the Black family, like you were saying. I think that's I think that's more so the stereotypical mindset of most Black women. Now, do you have Black women that fit negative stereotypes? Sure, but you could say that about any human being. You know what I mean? But that's just my 2 cents and everything for what he said. But I want to read some of these other comments too. There's a few of them. Tara Raven Colvin said, some people just feel like foreign, in parentheses, he says, as in other races, is better than domestic, meaning your own race, to feel like they have something different or something exotic. I think you might have alluded to that too. And if not, that's something else I think is kind of strange about people who have racial fetishes, whether that be a Black fetish or a white fetish or Asian, whatever it is. Because to me, that, in my opinion, that means you don't love me or see me as an individual while also respecting my race and my people at the same time. You just look at me as basically a glorified sex toy.
Right.
And that ain't cool to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole exotic thing. Not saying that it can't be, interesting to be with somebody, let's say, of another background, another race. That might be interesting to you. Maybe you want to learn more about a certain group of people, as well as you just falling in love with that person. So it might be just kind of, killing two birds with one stone. That's one thing. If you already have a respect and a love and an interest in that race, versus you just being like, oh, that person's Black. Ooh, like, let me,
right.
I know how they are in bed. Like, what I'm saying? It's like, you're not looking at me as a person. To me, that's very racist. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
in and of itself.
Yeah. And that goes, Black men and Black women, because, we get viewed as, these just glorified sex toys, like I said, and that even goes on within our own race. We do that, to one another too, or something that really gets on my nerves. We see that a lot within music videos, with how, Black men specifically will portray Black women, or even how, I've heard Black women say that the only good thing about Black men is the sex, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, well, damn, like, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't, portray our women as just, ass and titties,
right.
Excuse my language, you know what I'm saying? It's like, not saying that, y'all are physically beautiful people, but y'all are more than just,
Right.
you're out of
And
shell. Y'all have
men,
souls.
like men, y'all are great in bed, but that's not
Yeah,
all that you are. You know what I'm saying? Don't
right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not denying that, but it's like, we have souls. And to me, black people have the greatest souls on the planet. That's why I love black people. That's why I love black women so much. It's more than just your beauty.
right.
That to me, that's just the added bonus. Now that might be the first thing I notice because we see usually before we communicate and have that mental connection, but it's more than just a black woman looking good. You could be the finest woman on the planet, but if your mind ain't right, I can still respect you and still care about you, but I can't mess with you on that intimate level because we're not in sync mentally. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how somebody could be full blown married to somebody who just looks at them as a race fetish. To me, that like I don't understand. I've never understood that.
It's a weak
Yeah.
foundation.
So what?
It's a weak foundation to build upon. You can't build upon a fetish.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Fetish
And
won't raise no babies.
I'm not saying, I think everybody probably has some so-called fetishes or I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. Like if
But that shouldn't be the foundation.
Exactly. Some people, it might be eyes, it could be, so-called swag, as
Right.
the
I mean, all
ladies
have
say.
things that we're attracted to, but it shouldn't be, like I said, the overall reason as to why I'm with this person. Yeah, you get down in the bedroom, you got the nice ass, the dick good, all of that. But overall, you're a good man. You take care of home, you provide, you're able to cater to me, you're cooking for me, you're taking care of the babies and all of that. That's what really matters. But all of the other stuff, yeah, of course, you're gonna have some things about that person that maybe be a fetish. Okay, yes, but that's not why I'm with you. And I think that's the problem, as far as especially the interracial concept, interracial thing is concerned, because a lot of them are built upon a fetish. I'm with this white man because white men have this, or I'm with this black woman because black women have this, or I'm with this black man because black men have that. It's never something that is substantial. And I'm not going to generalize because I don't like that either. But I would say the people that I've came across, their reasoning behind why they were with this person outside of their race was kind of based upon fetishes or self-hate or the hate of, those men or women within their racial groups.
Absolutely. I'm gonna read these last two comments from Chair Raven and get back to something like that. Chair Raven Coleman says, I don't think the majority of this generation of black women seem to want to relate to black men anymore. All over social media, we are monsters, and it's becoming no longer a black community thing, but every man on his own. What's your opinion on that?
What did he say? That it's becoming every man for himself type deal.
Essentially, yeah. Every man on his own, but yeah, I'm assuming he meant the same thing. Yeah,
that sounds very generalized, though. I don't feel that way. I see a lot of black people out here who are trying to build together. I don't feel like it's so divided. But again, I do see that as well. It just really depends, like you said, your proximity. Maybe if you're surrounded by people that you do have that are divisive and that don't want to build within their communities, then yeah. But I see a mixture of both, and I'm mostly surrounded with people that do want to build, so I would have to disagree.
for sure. At the end of the day, it just depends on people. That's why I think, especially in our generation, I know, it could be hard, financially, depending on the situation. You might have student loans or whatever the case may be. But if you have the opportunity to travel, you ain't got to go anywhere, far. It can be a different town in your state or just whatever it is. Just try to travel, just like he was saying about social media, the internet is a gift and a curse. Yes, there is a lot of toxicity, a lot of toxic masculinity, a lot of toxic femininity, whatever you want, people want to talk about all that type of stuff. There's a lot of toxicity on social media, on the internet, but there's a lot of positivity and a lot of good things as well. You can meet a lot of people online or just learn, from different people's perspectives, from folks that maybe didn't grow up in the same neighborhood as you, the same state or whatever or you can just travel on your own and just meet people in the real and just turn off social media for a while too. So I think we all do need to kind of detox sometimes and kind of regulate, how much we feed our minds when it comes to social media, because like I said, it's a gift and a curse. So if you have the means, if you have the time, and I understand for people that don't, everybody do what you got to do, but if you have the means and the time, please travel. I think that's very important for our generation as millennials, and even the people younger than us, the post millennials that get grouped in with us, even though they're not millennials, they are Generation Z. It's a difference. but yeah, we definitely should travel more and network and meet people, because you can learn so much and realize that a lot of this stuff is programming. That's why it's called television programming.
Right.
So we got to be careful when it comes to this whole man versus woman thing. And I see the same stuff too. Sometimes I kind of get in the mix with the comment sections, and I see some things that women say. I'm just kind of like, really? Or some things that men say about women sometimes that I may disagree with whatever it is. It's just kind of like, dang, should we really be using this much time and energy on this instead of figuring out, okay, look, this is how you feel, this is how I feel, this is what the issue is. How do we solve it? Instead of just back and forth for trying to, figure out who's suffering more, black men or black women, or who's falling all that kind of stuff. Well, it's y'all's fault. Well, no, it's y'all's fault. Well, you don't understand. It's like, well, dang, fine. It's how about it's everybody's fault. Screw it. How do we fix this instead of us just bickering? That's not, and for people that have kids, they grow up, they see this stuff, and then the cycle just continues. Like, that's not right, So I'm not saying that I completely disagree with what he was saying. I get that, but at the same time, you can't generalize. Get out of your circle, whether that's through social media, whether that's in the real, which is more important. Reality is more important than social media. But I understand the generation we're in. We're on social media right now. Like, this wouldn't be possible without the internet. So I'm not dissing it, but sometimes you have to just kind of detox from that too, because you can really get. And I had to remind myself of that a lot of times too, because I see all this type of stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, like, shit, it's even worse, because I kind of think like, dang, is it even worth dating anymore as a single black man? But I can sit back and think like, dang, black women that I know in the real, most of them, I say 90% of them don't act like the people I see online. That's programming as well. You get fed certain things through algorithms and stuff like that. All this stuff is constructed. Some human beings run all of this stuff. So don't get it twisted. This stuff isn't completely natural. Yes, a lot of times those are human beings saying these toxic things, but understand that this stuff gets fed to us by people, people that are programming computers and the internet. It's all a program. Like, it all goes back to that social conditioning, that programming. So we got to be very mindful of that type of stuff. You got to remind yourself that, otherwise you are going to start to believe that, you're going to keep thinking that, you're going to put that into the universe, and then it's going to come to you in the real. And
it's like, it's true.
and look at yourself too, and you got to ask yourself too, what is it about me that is attracting these certain types of people within my race? It's believing, oh, this is how people in my race are. You gotta tell yourself, oh, this is a certain type of woman, or a certain type of man, whatever it is. What is it about me? What are they seeing in me that's making them want to come up to me and say this bull crap anyway? You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about that. We got to be real with ourselves. We're not perfect. Might be something about you, and I'm not trying to say that it's necessarily a look thing, but it could just be something that you're bringing into the world that is now that's coming back to you, in a physical form too. So you got to be mindful of all these kinds of
mindful. Why do you keep choosing those types of women? Or why do you keep choosing those types of men that are dogging you out to the point where you are able to generalize and say that's how all black men are, or that's how all black women are? We got to do some self-reflecting. What kind of energies are you putting out that are attracting those same types of no good ass people to you? Because best believe when you do leave those people within your race and you go and try to venture out, if your energy is still off, you're still going to attract those types of individuals back to you, whether they are white or Asian or whatever. You're going to have to deal with the same issues. That goes back to what you said earlier about some of your friends that were dating outside of their race, and they're dealing with the same things. Well, that's because something within you, vibrational wise, energy wise, is off. but you're just able to accept it more from the Beckys or from the Billies because you just want to be more understanding of them because they, for whatever reason, have this, advantage in your eyes over the people within your own race. But it's the same problems, and it could be the same problems based upon something that you have not internally fixed within yourself.
Exactly. That's something that we all need to work on. And you have essentially alluded to these type of things in your books as well. That everybody should check out her books because she kind of talks about these types of things as well as on her channel. But yeah, that's something that we gotta be conscious of. And like you were saying about vibrations and energy, at the end of the day, that's really all we are.
Yeah.
It's just vibrational energy. That's really it. And you do attract people that are on the same vibration as you. So if your vibration is off, people that you're in sync with, they're gonna be off.
Right.
So, and that's something that I've noticed with women that I have synergy with and things like that. I've noticed the way that they act, the way that their lifestyle, the way that they portray themselves. I see a lot of positive, as well as we all have flaws. Yeah. But I see a lot of the same qualities and flaws in them that I have in myself, but I have a real strong synergy with them. I'm like, wow, really, all it is this is just a female reflection of me. That's all it. So if you don't like that person, understand.
He's probably looking
in the mirror. They might look better than you, the female. Right. But I'm just saying, like, for people that say, oh, well, all black men are this, all black women are that.
Right.
That they are just reflections of you.
Right.
So, let me see these questions because you kind of answered some of them, but let's see. Yeah, you already said that you've never been in an interracial relationship. I guess to change the question up a little bit, has that opportunity presented itself and then you just said no, or have you never?
Every day, oh my God. And I'm married and I get all kind of people in my inbox. But even when I was single or whatever.
Yeah.
The opportunity it's a no for me, dog. And it's no shade. I just love black men too much. I just do. I don't know what it is. I just can't do it. And it's no shade to anybody who wants to date outside of their race. Do that. I don't want you guys to get in the habit of feeling like I'm against it. It's just that I'm pro-black. Okay? Right. Do what you want to do, but of course I'm gonna always put my people first. Okay? It just was never in my cards. It was never in me to branch out that way. It's just not in your girl, but do you, y'all, okay? Please don't take it the wrong way. This is just my observation, and I just really want us to get in the habit of asking ourselves questions so that we can get to the root cause as to why we do certain things. And think about the results of that or the effects. Think about why you are dating outside of your race, especially if you find yourself constantly doing it and you are in a way avoiding being with people that are within your race. Yeah. There's something going on internally, mentally within you that you haven't dealt with. And you need to ask yourself the whys. Like me, I know my whys. I know why I only date black men. Okay, I know why I married a black man, because I see my reflection in him. I can relate to him more. I feel like he can understand me more. I love myself, so of course I'm going to love him. That's why I love black men. That's why I'm pro-black. Why are you going outside of your race? Is it because you're the type of person that just, loves people as a whole in general? You don't see quote unquote race. You just see love and all of that. Or are you the type of person that's saying, you know what, fuck black men, fuck black women, and it's because y'all ain't shit and y'all got too many standards? All of that needs to be, sorted out. So please get in the habit of asking yourself the whys. Even if it is uncomfortable, you will figure out a lot about yourself when you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the same way that I feel, just out of curiosity, and I don't want you in trouble, so I'll ask, as far as when you were single, what were some of the things that white dudes would say as far as hollering at you? I've always been curious how white dudes step to black women, because for me, the times where I've been out with black women in social circles and sometimes white dudes will get the courage, even when I'm around. Every now and every once in a blue moon, they'll get the courage to try to step to, black women, whether I'm around or not or whatever, and it just be the most nervous, corny.
I mean,
and like I'm a goofball myself or whatever like that. But it's the difference between being a nerd, but you can still be smooth with it and kind of to your advantage versus just being a complete goof. And some of the stuff that I personally heard white dudes say, which maybe that's just because I was there, maybe they were nervous because they see there's a black president type of thing. I don't know, but just when you were single and maybe you was out with your girls or whatever like that, what are some of the things that white dudes said, or even the DMs, whatever? Like, just out of curiosity.
When I was single, I don't really remember. It was so long ago. I've been in a relationship my whole life.
Okay, well,
they still approach me now, and they in my DMs to this day asking me, "Oh, you're such a beautiful piece of hot chocolate," and all of this bullshit. And I'm just like, boy, if you don't get your but they say that kind of stuff, and again, that goes back to the fetish.
Yeah.
You see me as hot chocolate, oh, I love black women. That's the first thing that you're acknowledging is the fact that I'm a black woman. That says something to me. That says something about you having some kind of fetish when it comes to black women. And I don't F with that. Okay. If you are gonna approach somebody outside of your race, let it be for, reasons such as I just love what I see from you as an individual. I like your personality. Yes, you are attractive, but I see, other qualities and characteristics outside of just your physical. And a lot of times with the white guys that are in my inbox is because like I'm hot chocolate, as yellow as I am, as caramel as I am, I'm still some dark hot chocolate. Okay. And I'm just like, whoa, what? So I just can't get with it, y'all. But again, do you, okay? If you want to be in an interracial relationship, just make sure it's for all the right reasons.
Absolutely. I think sometimes too with people that aren't black, they think in their mind them sleeping with, dating, or being attracted to black people is proof that they're not racist, as if white people haven't been raping black women since forever,
okay.
Or that there weren't even the people that were supposedly in consensual relationships back in slavery or Jim Crow days, that that white man or white woman wasn't benefiting from white supremacy and sleeping with a black person, but still taking all the benefits of being white without trying to uplift that black person or the black community. To me, that doesn't prove that you're not racist. All that proves is, like you said, that you essentially have a hot chocolate fetish.
Okay.
Which to me is almost kind of worse. It's like, look, if you're gonna be racist, you're not gonna try to dismantle your privilege. Right. Stay over there. Now, if you are trying to dismantle white supremacy and you're just around black people a lot and you're trying to be in the community and find solutions, and while you're in the mix, you happen to fall in love with somebody outside your race or whatever like that, then
right.
Fine. That's, like you said, that's like an individual thing and stuff like that. And even back before, I guess you could say I had my Negro wake up call in the white girls that I dated. Even then, the first thing I would always ask them: do you prefer black men? Have you only been with black men, or do you just date men based on them individually? I would always ask them that. And some white girls would be like, "Oh yeah, no, I love black guy," thinking that that's a compliment, because I'm assuming the black dudes that they've been with were probably so just out of their mind that they were probably gassing them up because they looked at that as some type of compliment because of their own insecurities or their low self-esteem, that they feel it's a self-esteem boost to get compliments from white girls. So then they would get with me, or I would attempt to get with them. The first thing even when I was messing up and things like that, still I was not on some full Candace Owens or Kanye West or Kanye West or what was it, Nick Cannon, Nick Coonan or something like this. Even then I would always vet them, be like, look, you know, do you like me or attracted to me because I'm black, or you know, do you have a track record of or do you just, you know, date men just based on them, and have you been with, you know, some black dudes, some white, you know, whatever. Some will be like, yeah, I don't, you know, really, you know, date people based on their race. Like, you seem like a cool dude, I just kind of want to get to know you, da da da. But some of them will be just like, oh yeah, no, I love black men, that's all I mess with. I'm just like, all right, you up, you know, all right, like, I'm good.
Right.
so even in my days I was messing up, I still did not look at that. That to me, that was a turnoff. I'm like, well, what you mean? Like, it sounds like you just might have a fetish.
Right.
Versus now maybe those white girls were lying to me, the ones that were just like, oh, I just, you know, like people based on them and personality. I don't know, but I would vet them, you know. And I'm at the point now where like they just do what they do. I'm gonna be over here doing what I'm doing with the black women and everything like this. But you know, even at that point, it's like, to me, that's not a compliment. That wasn't a turn on. So it's just hard for me to understand when, you know, black dudes or black women for that matter look at that as like a boost of self-esteem. Like, oh man, he really loves black men, or I mean, she really loves black men, or he really loves black women, or whatever, or even with the, I guess, LGBT interracial relationships too, which is a whole different layer. But even within, you know, that too and stuff like that, like I've seen, like I have some friends that are LGBT and stuff like that. And I've seen that even within that community and stuff like that. I'm just kind of like, dang, like, you know. But as far as heterosexual relationships and things like that, you know, I've seen black men and black women that will look at that as a compliment. And I'm just asking them, like, how is that a compliment? Like, you're
right.
You.
It's another
yeah, you know what I mean? So like, I just, you know, I'm saying I'm at the point now where I'm just like, look, I don't care what their opinion is, because I'm not even trying to deal with them on that. Not saying like I have, you know, white friends, black friends, Native American friends, and all that type of stuff. Me too. But as far as being in a relationship at my age, I look at that as a business. I want my next relationship to be my last relationship. I want to, you know, build and, you know, possibly, you know, marriage and kids. If you know,
I mean, today your birthday, we getting older and shit.
Yeah, don't be saying anything bad. Anybody getting old? I'm just getting better. I'm getting wiser.
That's all. Right. That's what my husband say. I'm not getting old.
Yeah, I'm just getting better. You know. But seriously though, you know, that's the kind of things I think about. Now, when you're, you know, at least for me, and I was a teenager like that, when I was in, you know, my relationships back then, I wasn't necessarily thinking about all that type of stuff, whether I should have or not. But at my age now, 29, the next time, you know, I get into a serious relationship with somebody, I want to make sure, you know, that we're on the same page and we can build together. And the first, you know, step of that is, you know, you gotta be a black woman. And that, you know, people want to say that that's racist or whatever, like that's fine. You know, like you were saying, being pro-black doesn't mean you're anti somebody else. We can be cool. I got, you know, white female friends, everything like this, and stuff like that. And, you know, there's some of the cool folks. I know some, you know, white girls I've grown up with that are down, that they'll check other white girls that'll be on that bullshit, which is why I'm cool with them. Right. But that doesn't mean I want to marry them. That doesn't mean that I want to have children with them. And they don't either. They told me, they're like, look, no, I stick with white dudes. That's not that I hate you, hate, you know, black people. And I respect that. I'm like, cool.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, that's fine. Like, that's exactly what I want. We can be friends. You can check, you know, these dumbass white folks out here when you're, you know, at Thanksgiving and your uncle says something crazy or whatever like that, you know, or I'll, you know, tell you, peep game to you about what's going on. You can relay that and use your privilege. So like that's the kind of white friends that can be cool with me. Because, you know, like I'm fine with that, but that doesn't mean just because a white girl is, you know, down that I gotta sleep with her and marry or something like that. Like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand, you know, but some people look at that, oh well, yeah, I gotta get with her because, you know, she's built like a black woman, and that's another thing too. That, you know, yeah, that shows a lot of to me, a lot of self-hate, a lot of pain when you have black dudes that say, oh, I like the thick white girls because they look like a black woman. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If this white woman reminds you of a black woman, in your opinion, why not just get with a black woman?
Bingo.
Or if that white dude's got swag like a black dude, you know, like JT or something, you know, I don't know, you know, one of the you know, white R&B singers out here, you know, I was black, oh, he got swag like a black dude. I want to get with a white guy like that. Why not just get with a black dude?
Exactly.
This is so-called black man swag. If we're the ones that invented this, then why not just get, you know what I'm saying? Why not go to the source? If
Exactly.
this white girl is built like a black girl, why not just get with a black woman who is naturally built, whether it's a slimmer black woman, thick, like what, like, you know, why not just get with a black woman? Like, I don't understand, like that, you know, like that just shows that there's some type of psychological pain.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you still want a black person, you just don't want a black person. That makes sense. You know what I mean?
Makes all the sense.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know,
and none at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just never, and I've heard this type of stuff. It's just kind of like, man, like, you know, but, you know, I don't know if you had anything to throw in there, or let's go to the next question.
I would, but I'm not gonna go there.
Oh, all right.
Conversation.
Okay. I mean, we talk about the off air too. That sounds kind of like the look on your face. See that's that black communication. I can just look. I think I already know what you're gonna say. But I'll go next question though. Have any of your family members or people in past relationships or friendships or anything like that, have any of them been in an interracial relationship before?
Yes, I know people who are in an interracial relationship that I'm related to, and I have friends that are in interracial relationships.
Okay.
And I mean, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't bother me because I know the reasons why. I know it's not because they hate themselves. I know it's not because, you know, they feel like black people or white people are, you know, bad or white people are better. I know the reasons why, so I don't have an issue. Again, my issue comes into play when you have these superficial reasons or you have these derogatory reasons as to why you are dating outside of your race. But yes, I know plenty of people who are in interracial relationships, and I respect it because, again, I know the background of it.
Absolutely. Same here. I got a few family members that were white folks, and the same thing. Like, it's not any type of hatred that they have for black people or anything like that. So right. I do want to make that clear. It's not saying that anybody who's, you know, married to somebody outside their race or in a relationship with somebody outside their race currently or anything like that is automatically like, oh, well, right. you must just hate everybody that's black because of your relationship. You know, like that, like, no, like, I, you know, and you can really tell when people are just genuine, like, no, like, I just love this person. It's got nothing right. to do with me putting white folks, some other race, on a higher pedestal, or me putting black people on a lower pedestal because of my relationship, or that the relationship is a reflection of that, anything like that. That's just who they're with. And I believe that can happen. I know a lot of people, and I guess this side of YouTube, don't believe that, and that's fine. You know, we can all have our own opinions or whatever like that. But I personally just would prefer, and not even that I prefer, because a preference means you still like or still would do something else, but you would prefer to do this over here. You know, my requirement is that she has to be black, whether that's so-called light skin, medium skin, dark skin, whether she's American, Caribbean, you know, from, you know, the continent of Africa, wherever, you know, she's got to be a black woman, because if I ever decide to have children, you know, I want my child's mother to be black. If I decide to get married, I want my wife to be black. You know, the next relationship I get into, or the next girlfriend that I have, I want her to be black. I just want to be in a 100% black relationship. But and that's just me. Now, if somebody else is in a interracial relationship, and that's not, you know, has some type of self-hate, you know, fine. But you just see a lot of times when people will give you their answer, you can just hear the pain in their voice, even if they're not saying anything bad about black people. You can just tell by the tone, if it's, you know, a hatred thing, or if it's just they're just dating this person because that's who they love or whatever. And that might be the only time they dated outside of their race before too. Like that type of stuff happens too, where you have black folks who every relationship that they've been in has been with somebody black, and the person that they married was, you know, East Asian or something like that. That happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not dissing nobody, but for the folks that have, you know, or that are doing this out of hate, understand that is a psychological issue. And I'm not even trying to bash them for that. You know, I've made videos about this as far as Black people getting reparations. One of the things that we should get and should have gotten a long time ago is free counseling for all the PTSD that we have. We never got a chance to heal, and you see that being manifested as self-hate and all this type of stuff. You see this in real time. Yeah. You know, the whole Willie Lynch thing, whether that letter was real or not, it is real in the sense of the action. You see this type of stuff happen, but that is effects of hundreds of years of trauma that is still going on today. It's never stopped. You know, we take it out on one another. You know, if you think Black people ain't nothing, then why would why would you marry a Black person? If you think that you ain't nothing, you think Black people ain't nothing, you're gonna automatically assume somebody else is better, which is not true, you know.
And what's scary is we're passing that kind of
mentality,
trauma and mentality down to our children. So now we're in these interracial relationships or marriages where we're in them because I don't like myself or I have this pain. And now you're inadvertently, you know, teaching your children to have the same kind of mentality that you have. Like, well, now I know I can't get with no Black woman because my daddy told me that, you know, these Black women ain't shit and they got too many high standards. And then you got Black women teaching their daughters the same thing. Leave these Black boys alone. They ain't nothing but trouble, and get you this kind of man because white men, they got money and they got this wealth and they're gonna be able to take care of you. And so now you're creating all kind of generational problems down the line. So again, we got to really think about the whys. We're not doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's a responsibility us as adults when, you know, we're in a marriage or whatever it is, whether we have kids or not. You know, you got to try to make that work, because if you don't, all you're doing is confirming in somebody's mind every negative stereotype. Not saying that, you know, as individual Black people that we should be responsible for every Black person's actions. All I'm saying is, you know, if you know, you're aware that we have this type of trauma and you're out here being a deadbeat dad or, you know, a deadbeat mother or just a deadbeat husband or deadbeat wife, as a Black person, when y'all get a divorce or y'all break up, that may steer that Black man, that Black woman to be with somebody outside their race, because now they're thinking, oh, you see, all this stuff I thought in my head, it must be true. Look at this person is the exact, you know, embodiment of every bad stereotype for Black men or Black women. Why should I even, you know, risk, you know, being with another Black person? This just confirms it. Or, you know, it might be a cycle. They might have been with numerous Black people that, you know, that wasn't nothing or whatever, you know. So you got to think, you might just think by thinking, oh, well, this, you know, it's just me, you know, or it's just them and, you know, whatever. But you got to understand, like, we are a collective. We are individual people, but we make up a whole, you know. So, you know, I think we do have a responsibility for the next generation, and just as a race of people, you know, we should want to build with one another. Even like I said, like me being single, you know, building could be just supporting each other business wise, or just whatever it is, or just lifting up one another's spirits and things like that too, instead of just being like, oh, well, you know, forget you and like, you know, it's like that. Like, what does that solve? All that just confirms people's own insecurities and things like that. So, you know.
Got any more questions on the list?
So kind of look at people's comments are kind of just, I'm not going to attempt to try to say your name, man. So, but you know, I'll read one of his comments. He says, I see the agenda everywhere now, movies, commercials, even saw a cartoon yesterday, Craig of the Creek, I don't know what that is, the older brother dating a white girl. Yeah, there's a lot of shows now with a lot of interracial people married, and, you know, a lot of stuff with LGBT relationships, stuff like that, which I don't think that's necessarily bad, because obviously there are Black LGBT people and they are in relationships with one another. So that is a reality, whether, you know, we want to agree with that lifestyle or not, or we think that it's 100% programming or natural, whatever, that's kind of a separate topic. But regardless of the reason why, at the very least, you know, they do exist. They are in relationships. So I don't think it's so bad to show, you know, interracial relationships on TV shows or LGBT people together so much as it just being pushed all the time for no reason or being shoehorned in just because and all this type of stuff and or trying to make it seem like that's better than a heterosexual Black relationship. And yes, you could say that I'm being biased as being a heterosexual Black man, but I mean, if everybody was in an LGBT marriage, where the baby's going to come from? And I'm not even trying to be mean, but I mean, I understand people can adopt, but where that baby come from? You know, somebody, even if you want to say artificial insemination, not everybody can afford that. Like, you know, you still need, you're gonna laugh. you ain't got to chime in on this if you don't want to, but you know, you still need heterosexual people, you know, together creating a society and things like this. And as far as interracial, if everybody is doing that, eventually you're not going to have Black people. I'm not trying to be on no supremacist type of thing, anything like that, but that's just biology and things like that. If you know somebody who's half Black and half white gets with a white person because their dad was with a white woman, so now he wants to be with a white woman, and they have a kid, and it's the same thing. That you know what I'm saying? So like,
you're deluding.
Yeah, and once I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people being mixed, but if you understand what kind of world we live in, once again, going back to the question that you asked me earlier, you know, how can you combat white supremacy as Black people if there's no Black people? You know, it's just the truth. You know what I mean? So, you know, I do agree that there is an agenda where they do push certain types of couples and try to glorify it over others, make people feel like, oh, well, maybe it's better over here. Maybe I should try this. Maybe I should experiment with, you know, white women or white men, or, you know, you got people that are curious when it comes to sexuality, all this type of stuff. And it's just kind of like, yo, the grass is not greener anywhere. Now, if that really truly is you, fine. Like, I'm not going to tell people what to do with their bodies, but just understand what you're doing.
Right.
You understand why you're doing it, because there's people that do this out of pain.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, like I've seen plenty of Black women who have been with nothing but Black men. You know, they'll get to a point where they're like, you know what, I'm done with Black men, and you know, I'm tired of y'all doing this and doing that. You know what, I'm gonna just be with women. It's like, dang, like, like okay, like y'all crazy too. Like, don't get twisted. I love y'all, but that don't mean y'all are perfect.
Now,
so you know, or you'll get people, you know, Black dudes being like, oh, this is the last Black woman I'm ever gonna do. I'm gonna just mess with these white girls over here. I'm gonna get me a thick white girl and just call it a day. That's best of both. Eh? You know, it's just like, yo, all right, man. All right.
Those wise, man.
Barbecue Becky is getting your ass arrested. Don't be, you know, crying, you know. So, you know,
right now.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, but yeah, I feel what you're saying there. Ichago, I believe that's how you say your name. I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But those are really the main questions that
all right,
I would ask. I mean,
I hope I'm able to answer them.
No, absolutely. I just kind of wanted, you know, perspective from a woman, so you know, just to kind of have that balance. Even though I think we kind of were on the same page for the most part, but still, though, it's always good just to get other Black people's perspectives when it comes to these different situations and things like that. You know, but I could imagine for you as a Black woman that it would be very annoying constantly hearing certain demographics of Black men talking down on Black women while praising white women, or when they give their reason for being with, you know, a white woman or Asian woman or whatever, it's always something negative to do with Black women. I can imagine that would, you know, be frustrating, and that would, fellas, make Black women feel angry, because believe it or not, Black women are humans, and humans have feelings.
Everybody has feelings.
No offense, but women in general are emotional beings. There's nothing wrong with being emotional. There's like something wrong with being logical. It's a problem being over emotional or over logical. But women, you guys are, you know, you guys kind of communicate more and feel more with your feelings. Like that's kind of how you guys kind of move more, from my perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's where the balance, you know, comes in, because we men, we kind of are more the thinkers and, you know, problem solvers, so to speak. And you guys are kind of more so the ones that approach it from a feeling perspective, you know, and
Yeah,
then we can come
absolutely.
together and, you know, be a good team, like a good business, like I said. But
We
I
balance
can
it out.
imagine that would make Black women angry. So, you know, fellas, just think about that when you see a Black woman acting, you know, bitter or angry or loud or whatever, and just try to figure out why. You know what I'm saying? Because there could be a real reason. Now, maybe she's just tripping. That individual woman, maybe she's just tripping. I'm not saying that don't happen, but there could be a real reason why. There might be some real trauma, you know, and it could come from some of us, which is why I think it's a responsibility for us as Black men to check one another. I think Black women should also check, you know, other Black women that are out of pocket, which you do that a lot. I know you get a lot of hate from Black women for that. And you check Black men too. Like I've seen your videos where you check Black men. And it doesn't bother me because I know where you're coming from. You know, I know it's out of love.
Absolutely, all the time. Everything I do is out of love, and it may come off a little, you know, a little harsh, but it's just because I'm passionate about the Black family, and most importantly, Black men and Black women, you know, coming together and bridging those gaps and gaining a better understanding of one another. It's so many things that we just need to connect on. And again, it goes back to what you said earlier, as far as us, you know, needing to reconnect with each other and understand each other on those levels and stop, you know, being in competition and pointing the finger and saying, well, you do this and you do that. Okay, cool. Okay, like you said earlier, but what can we do to fix it? We're not doing that. And that's what I'm all about. And most of my content can come, I would say most of my viral content can come from the perspective of, you know, me trying to quote unquote check Black women, because I feel like we need more of that. It's not a lot of it. It's just a lot of women trying to basically blame and not take accountability for what we're doing. And so I want us to be able to reflect and ask ourselves again, those whys. Why are we continuing to be with these types of men and women? And what can we do about it in order to reverse it so that we can get different and better results?
Exactly. You know, and that's something too, just as a man, that is confusing for me. Something that I hear a lot from women is that they want men to lead and that we should be the ones to take on most of the burden and responsibilities, which, you know, fine. But my thing is, if you want a man to lead, then that means by default that the woman has to listen. How can you lead somebody if they're not going to listen to you? I'm not saying that women can't, you know, chime in and, you know, bring something up like, hey, wait a minute, like, you know, let's maybe kind of do it more a little bit like that. Like you know, not saying that, you know, I never would want to be with a woman that feels like she can never, you know, that her opinion doesn't matter. She can never speak up. You know, I always try to encourage women if, you know, I'm in any kind of conversation or there's any kind of thing where we're trying to figure, you know, something out or just whatever it is. I'm like, okay, so what's your opinion? Or like, you know, I'd be like, here's what I'm, you know, thinking we should do. Here's the path I want to go on. Here's where I see this in the next year or whatever. But, you know, women, you guys have more intuition than us. Y'all can kind of break down those details. Like, yeah, I'm with you. You know, I'll follow you from point A to point B. But, you know, it's maybe we might look at it as point A to A to B. Y'all might see A through Z. Now you may want to end in the same spot that we do, so you're willing to follow us there, but you might be able to break down those details of that path. Like, okay, so we also need to kind of do this. I'm all ears. Like that's, to me, that's collaboration. But at the same time, the man is still kind of leading by saying like, hey, here's the overall structure of what we need to do, and here's how we're going to do it. So, you know, I'm telling you, I'm showing you, so you believe me, so you feel secure. But at the same time, your opinion matters. I think a lot of women look at, oh, you know, the man is telling a woman what to do, he's being misogynistic, he's being controlling. There's a difference between leading and being a dictator. You know what I'm saying? And I think women get that skew or look at that as some type of toxic masculinity if a man wants to lead. But those same women will say that, oh, well, as a man, you know, y'all should be held more accountable. Y'all should be the leaders. And it's like, well, then that means y'all got to listen. You can't want a man to be a leader, but then tell them what to do 100% of the time. That doesn't make any sense. You know,
Exactly.
we're over the same role.
Right.
I know some people don't like the term gender roles or whatever, but whatever you want to call it, in every household, every marriage, people do play roles. And there's different, some men, for example, rather be the one cooking in the house. Like, for example, my father was the one who cooked, right? And he also was a neat freak, so he did more of the cleaning. But at the same time, my mom was more of the nurturing one and things like that. You know what I'm saying? She was kind of more of the counselor.
Yeah.
So in the house. My mom, my dad both worked. My dad made a little more money than my mom. So my dad kind of made most of the big decisions, but he would always include her in it because they both had their own money and they would kind of combine together and be like, hey, we're gonna update the floor in the kitchen or whatever the maybe, whatever. Wooty woo, here's different prices, different stuff. Like, what do you think? The colors, whatever. Like, they'll both talk about together. But the reason that they're getting the new, furniture or whatever it is, because my dad wanted it. So they getting it. It's just more so, what's the price? What's the type? When? Like, who are we going to be buying from? All type of stuff. They'll come together on that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you can have roles within the relationships, but that doesn't mean that the roles will always be the same roles. We're going to have to switch roles sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's all about working together as a team, which is essentially what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And I think, sometimes people get that misconstrued and, in this whole, third wave, or I guess really it's the fourth wave of feminism, has a lot of women confused, as well as the fact that you have men that have dropped the ball. I'm not going to sit up here in front on that aspect, but you have all this stuff going on, and then it makes women feel like, well, men can't lead, so then I got to do it. But then a lot of women then get angry because they don't want to do it, but they don't trust the men to do it. But on the flip side, when men say, okay, well, then you need to hold yourself accountable if you want to be the leader, then they want to fall back and be like, well, no, I'm the woman, you're the man, so you got to take accountability. And it's like, well, you can't, like, it doesn't work like that. Like on the flip side, as a man, if you want to be laying on the couch all day, not working, and she's making all the money, doing all the type of stuff, but you want to run her and tell her what to do, act like you're the king, the big boss, but you lay on the couch eating Cheetos all day, not even attempting to try to do. And I understand as a black man, it is hard to find a job. It's hard to talk to your own business, whatever it is. But like, I got technically three jobs. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm no better than anybody. I'm not trying to be like I'm special and all type of stuff. I get it. I've been unemployed. I get it. It's the difference between you trying to find a job. That goes back to me saying that black women, in my opinion, don't have high standards, because y'all understand that. And I think most black women, if they see us trying at the very least, and we're still trying to make it work, we're still trying to do something. Whether if you got a car, my thing nowadays, if you got a car and you got a smartphone, get your ass on Lyft, Uber, something. Seriously, like you know what I mean? You ain't got to be out here, selling dope or whatever it is all the time. I mean, I understand. Like, I'm, be safe. That's what you're doing. I don't recommend that, but I understand there's a whole not propaganda, but there's a whole system in place, which is why so many black men commit certain crimes too, is because of it's hard for us to make ends meet too. There's a whole thing with that, and us feeling inadequate, feel like we're not leaders. So you got black men out here in the streets doing wild stuff because we want to be the providers. A lot of black men want to have that role, but this system is set up, and we know the system is set up for us to not be able to be in that role, which means black women automatically have to, which then I think makes some black women not want to respect us, because they're like, well, dang, I got to be the man and the woman. Why do I need you here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff going on. That said, that might leave a black man be like, well, dang, I don't want her to feel this way, and I don't want to feel this way. Well, shoot, let me go out here and start being in these streets doing, but just any and everything, which can lead to you going to prison and the whole that it's a whole system, like that. But they said if you got a car, you got a decent enough car, you got a phone, brothers, download your Uber. Seriously, if you live in a big city, you can make a lot of money just doing that alone. And then you gotta look for another job. I mean, for real, you know what I'm saying? Like something. While you're doing that, try to start your business online or whatever it is, or try, if you want to do 9 to 5, whatever, you can do something if you have the means, or try to get help, whatever it is. I understand that, try to network with people. You know, if you have an internet connection, you got a way to make money. That's, you know, I mean, like this just, it just is what it is. So, you know, we do got to try more. But I think a lot of Black women understand this because y'all are Black. So y'all are going through the same stuff, you know, on top of being, you know, women. So I don't understand this whole thing of, oh, well, I want to be with a white woman because, you know, Black women are too hard to please, or, you know, da, da, da. Not every Black woman is like Aisha Curry. Not to go back into that, but ain't gonna act like no matter what, they just can't be happy. There's a lot of, you know, Black women out here that are happy. Maybe they're not, you know, telling their business all day on social media because we love drama more than we love to see people be happy, which is another issue amongst us as well as other groups of people too. So understand that there are a lot of Black men and Black women out here that are married, that are dating, whatever, that are very happy and that are satisfied with the man or the woman that they're with. You know what I mean? So get you some friends that are married, that are happy, talk to them too, and kind of learn. Like we need to learn. And, you know, it's not our fault. So a lot of times our parents didn't teach us this stuff. They didn't show us this stuff too. So a lot of us just don't know what it means to be in a good marriage or to, you know, anything like that too. We never saw it. Right. And that's the thing as well. So it's just a big, it's a huge cycle, and you know, it's got to break at some point. But the way to break that is Black men and Black women being on a good accord and respecting one another. Like,
and with that being said, y'all, we are pro-Black love all day, every day. I respect anybody who wants to be in an interracial relationship or marriage. I just ask that you guys really sit down and reflect on the whys. Black people too, you know, even or just in general, if you are in a situation where you want to be with people that are of your same background and race, still ask yourself the whys so that you can gain a better understanding of yourself and be able to build, you know, more solid foundations with that person that you are trying to build with. Because the more that you know about yourself, the more you'll know how to maneuver through life and through that relationship and pass on, you know, better things to your future generations to come and teach them to do the same things. So I appreciate you so much for having me though, but I got to get off of here. I got to go and do some stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I got to visit the folks for my birthday here before I
get
to work on that type of stuff.
You turn up for us. Okay.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I already did my turn up on the weekend. I was in Chicago visiting.
Okay, cool.
So I'm all turned out now. I'm back to my grind and everything. You know.
Tonight. Okay, I get
back to business. But absolutely, I appreciate you coming on here as well. Much respect. Check your channel out. Yeah. I don't know if you have any closing words or if that was your.
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I think this is a very important conversation for us to have. You talk about a lot of dope things on your platform as well. And I respect you as a Black man, as a Black king. And thank you so much for what you are doing out here and, you know, voicing your concerns and your opinions that can ultimately help us all to bridge together these gaps, because it does need to be filled and it does need to be talked about no matter how uncomfortable that it is. And so I salute, you know, the kings out there such as yourself that are trying to, you know, use that platform to do such.
Hey, absolutely. And on that note, it's your boy, Conscious Coon Killer. Gonna coon within me, coon within you.
Okay.
And we are out.
Peace.
Peace out.